Well, normally around now, Sara Thornton would be here with me in the studio with the weather forecast. But this evening, as part of her On the Map series, she's at another mystery location. Sara, it's time to reveal your whereabouts now.
In a jumper, no less, my first jumper of the On the Map series. More on that in just a second, but I promise I've got good news. We're at Teston, and it's an absolutely lovely little village here, nominated by more than one of our viewers because they were very keen to get out a story which is so important about the role that this village played in changing the course of history around the globe, and one man, a very special man, who was vicar here. For some, Teston is simply a beautiful village. Many who live here have been connected to its heritage making cricket balls, which stretches back to the mid-19th century. A club, a shop, and the church form the heart of the community. And it's at the church where you'll find the story of possibly one of the most important and intriguing parts of the village's history, its role in the abolition of slavery. The story revolves around this man, Reverend James Ramsay, a surgeon turned clergyman who was the rector of Teston in Nettlestead from 1781 until 1789. But before he arrived in Kent, he'd spent years in the West Indies and St Kitts, where he was horrified at the treatment of African slaves.
One day they called for volunteers to go aboard a slaver because there was a lot of infection. And he was the only one who was brave enough to actually go aboard, and he went, and when he got on the boat he could see what dreadful conditions there were. You know how they were all put in together, chained to each other, no room, nothing sanitary at all. It was really horrid.
Reverend Ramsay joined others, including William Wilberforce, at the next-door Barham Court to share his experiences. The Grand House then became the centre for the campaign for the abolition of slavery, and his manuscripts later became evidence used by Parliament. Dawn is writing a book about James Ramsay in a bid to help his story become more widely known, and that's a cause supported throughout the village.
Well, we feel that he was an important person. I suppose really in the development of British morality. He helped move the boundary between what people found acceptable and what they found unacceptable. We'd like to get some recognition for James Ramsay alongside the other abolitionists, some of whom are commemorated in Westminster Abbey.
The villagers have now written to the Archbishop of Canterbury to ask that James Ramsay be added to a group of social reformers who are commemorated each year, so that the man known as the unknown abolitionist may no longer be deserving of that title. And if you didn't know that story before, you're not alone. It wasn't widely known, but when you stand here, as I am this evening, you really feel the significance of it, knowing that Reverend Ramsay and his manservant Teston are buried just behind me. Now, earlier on, I mentioned jumpers. My first jumper of the season, and certainly it's needed it. It's been so gloomy again, just occasional breaks in the cloud, but we have a huge change in the weather story to talk about for the coming days. Not just a change in the conditions, but a change in what we have been talking about. You can see in the headline here that things are set to warm up after another couple of fairly cloudy days. Let's take a look at what's going on overnight tonight. Of course, we've had some breaks in the cloud here and there through the day today, very occasional ones, and that's the story we go into tomorrow, with still a lot of cloud around, occasional breaks, but there's a subtle shift in wind direction through the night tonight, and with more of an easterly, we're going to see some breaks coming through. Temperatures low teens again to start tomorrow morning, but of course the last couple of days we've started low teens. We haven't got much higher than the high teens, so there hasn't been a massive spread in temperatures. And tomorrow again, high teens with a few breaks in the cloud, maybe might just about might get up to 20 Celsius, something of that order, 68 in Fahrenheit. But here's the big thing that's happening through the weekend. The high pressure we've had is going to move off towards the east. Low pressure is approaching from the west, but it's never really going to quite make it to us. So for Friday, it's still dry, it's still settled, but we're going to continue that cloud breaking up. So a bit of bright or sunny weather coming through, and that would make a difference in temperatures, because then we'd be into the low 20s Celsius. And then look what happens. Here you can see it in the outlook. Through the weekend, that rain that we thought might come in is actually going to stay further south and west. And now it looks like, because the area of high pressure that's been with us is just drifting towards Eastern Europe, we continue to pull in an easterly and eventually more of a southeasterly wind, and that really boosts our temperatures. So what you see here is not what we had been talking about before tonight, but now it's looking like we're into the mid, possibly high 20s Celsius next week, just as the children go back to school.
So you'll be swapping that jumper for something more summery, Sara. Thank you very much indeed. Well, I'll be back with a full update at 10:30 here on BBC One. Hope to see you then. Goodbye.
Every child learns differently. Some get a bit, others struggle to
focus.
Remember, nobody's
perfect.
Missing a bit can make lessons
Really hard to understand.
So whether they've missed that DNA stands for
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
or how to say
I do yoga.
en français, BBC Bite Size can fill in the
Gaps.
and get those brains as big as
Henry VIII.
BBC Bite Size online learning for all children.
He waits for the light.
She's not from here.
Hey.
Our group of friends have known each other since we were babies. We have trust and history.
Did you miss me? I know I've missed you.
Something's different.
In a good way?
In the best way.
Gossip Girl. Press red to stream now exclusively on BBC iPlayer. Wednesday night on BBC One, Maria live with you for a veritable buffet of TV delights, including Celebrity MasterChef at 9. Right now, though, those Hollywood stars just keep on coming.